Welcome to Tired Mommy Revival. Hey mama, are you running on coffee fumes? Feeling like brain fog, fatigue, and anxiety are running the show? Do you wake up dreading the day ahead, already overwhelmed by the endless to-do list and unsure how you'll make it through? Do you long for the energy to enjoy motherhood and care for yourself, but feel stuck and unsure where to start? Let me remind you of something life-changing. You were created for more energy, more clarity, more joy. Hi, I'm Jerusha, certified holistic wellness coach, wife and mom to 2 wild boys and 1 baby girl in heaven. I know the exhaustion you're feeling because I've been there, barely making it through the day, relying on coffee and chocolate to survive, and wondering why nothing I tried ever made me feel better. Then, God stepped in and revealed a powerful truth. A woman's body is beautifully and uniquely designed to thrive. When we align with how God created us, we can boost our energy, bust through fatigue, and step into the vibrant, joy-filled life He has for us. Mama, I'm living proof that it's possible. These days, I wake up refreshed, nourish my body with intention, and navigate the chaos of motherhood with patience and peace. Most days. And I want to help you do the same. If you're ready to swap exhaustion for energy, brain fog for clarity, and guilt for grace, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into practical strategies, faith-filled truths, and empowering tools to renew your health, body, soul, and spirit. Are you ready for this? Let's do it, mama. Hello, and happy Friday. Yes, this week's Thursday episode is lighting out just a little bit late, but thank you for your grace, mamas, because honestly, yesterday I completely missed my editing window after getting caught up in freezer prepping pulled pork, blanching green beans from the garden, and making my very first sourdough loaf of bread. Let me tell you, it is amazing. It is a German rye bread, and let me tell you, I am hooked. I may or may not be pledging to never buy store-bought bread again, but don't hold me to that. A mama needs grace every once in a while, and I might just keep a store-bought loaf of bread in the freezer as a backup plan. But nonetheless, this is my prime time of the year for meal prepping food and getting food in the freezer. And one of the reasons is simply because it's harvest time. There's a lot coming out of the garden right now, and I am getting a lot of those fresh veggies prepped for the freezer. But I also make freezer meals this time of year too. And if you think that sounds absolutely crazy, how could you possibly find time to do that this time of year with everything else going on? I totally agree. And some days I am asking myself the same thing. But this is a routine that I have developed over the past few years, and I can tell you, even though it feels like a stretch, a push to get freezer meals stocked up this time of year, I can tell you in a couple months, I will be thanking myself so much for the beautiful gift of those ready-to-eat meals that are available during the holidays when things pick up speed even more. So, mama, let's dive into this episode because when school is in session, sports start up, and church events are in full swing, 2 things seem to go right out the window. First is an organized schedule. We actually talked about that in the last episode, how to recover your calendar and your mental sanity so you can move through your weeks with more peace and intention. But let's be honest, the second thing that disappears real fast, dinner. Dinner suddenly feels like a monumental task when you're not home most nights. And yet, this is exactly the time of year when healthy meals need to be a priority. Everyone is on the go. Your kids are learning hard in school, they're physically active in sports, and as mom, you've resumed your role as lead chauffeur, sideline cheerleader, and all-around household project manager. Everyone could use a nutrition boost to perform at their best, and yet, getting food on the table, or at least in their bellies, feels so hard. Culturally, this is the season when many families just assume we can't possibly make dinner happen. and they turn to fast food as the go-to solution. Sure, it's convenient, but it comes with a price. Inflammation, sluggishness, brain fog, and let's be real, it doesn't exactly build long-term health. The truth is, dinner doesn't have to be that complicated. With a few simple tricks and a little planning ahead, it's not only doable, but your family can feel truly fueled during this busy season. In our home, we honestly never eat fast food out of necessity. If we go out, it's a planned splurge. And usually it's not fast food because honestly, we just love good food. But eating out at restaurants is expensive too, so it's not something we do all the time either. Instead, I've built what I like to call our fast food at home system. Easy, sustainable, and nourishing meals I can throw together without losing my sanity. That's the key here, mamas. You know what I'm talking about. And today, I want to share 3 of those secrets with you. The systems that help me stay on top of mealtime in the middle of sports, school, and church life. Okay, secret number 1 is meal prep matters. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, here we go, another Pinterest perfect meal prep lecture, let me stop you right there. Because if you've been on Pinterest lately, you've probably seen those dreamy photos of fridges lined with color-coded containers, a rainbow of perfectly curated snacks, and meals portioned out like they belong in a magazine. And honestly, that's not real life. That's not sustainable, and that's definitely not what I mean when I say meal prep matters. Instead, I want you to think of meal prep as sanity-saving prep. It's not about perfection. It's about reducing stress and making dinner time easier. Here's where it starts: planning ahead. Just like we talked about in the last episode with scheduling, you need to look realistically at your week. What pockets of time do you actually have to make dinner, or at least to prep dinner? What ingredients will you need? And when will you go to the store to grab them? Once that's mapped out, take a little time to wash and chop your veggies in advance. I promise this one step can cut your cooking time in half. Future you will be so thankful. Another big tip: keep a set list of easy meals on rotation. Even if you have 5 meals that you make regularly, it will dramatically reduce decision fatigue. You won't waste hours scrolling Pinterest for a new recipe every night. And when you're actually in the kitchen, you'll cook faster because you know what to expect instead of learning a new recipe. This is a total lifesaver when it comes to mental fatigue. Now, if you're like me, you get bored with food easily, so sticking to a rotation feels a little painful. But trust me, in busy seasons, it makes all the difference. You can always experiment with fun recipes when life slows down, but for now, keep it simple. And here's one more piece. When you're choosing your rotation meals, be realistic about where you'll actually be eating. Will you have time to sit at the table together? Or does it need to be something you can scoop into a bowl and hand to your kids in the car on the way to soccer practice? The best meal prep is the one that actually fits your life. And trust me, there's nothing more stressful than trying to serve something that should be eaten sitting down while your kids are in the car and your toddler is having a meltdown because they spilled their food everywhere. So keep it simple, mama, and think ahead about what your life will actually look like when it comes time to eat dinner. Secret number 2 is redefined fast food. Let's be honest, mamas. With some intention and planning, we can stay on top of meal prep most days. But here's the truth. As women, we are not created to run at 120% all the time. And if you've ever been completely wiped out during that time of the month, you know exactly what I mean. Suddenly, you're out of commission for at least 3 days, and dinner is the last thing on your mind. But here's the thing, your cycle is more than just those few days. Some days you're crushing it and you're feeling like you can conquer the world. Other weeks you're dragging yourself along, and that's because your body is designed to slow down to balance your hormones. There are times of the month where you're only designed to run at like 60%. And sometimes when we feel like that, we beat ourselves up or just push ourselves harder. And ultimately, what it's doing is it's throwing our hormones even more out of whack. Instead, we need to give ourselves permission to lean into the natural rhythms we have as women. I'm not going to get into all the details today, but here's the point. When it comes to meal prep, you need to give yourself some grace. I've learned this the hard way, but when I prepare ahead, I'm actually giving myself the most compassionate gift possible. And that gift is freezer meals. Yep, food that's already made and waiting for me. All I have to do is pull it out, thaw, scoop, reheat, and serve. It doesn't get any more fast food than that. And besides womanhood, there are a million things that could happen during the week to keep us running from a perfectly curated schedule. Even when we do our best to plan ahead, there's always going to be something that happens that's outside of our control. For example, you could have had plans to make dinner, but then you had to rush your pet to the vet for something. Or maybe you had to drive somewhere to pick up your kid unexpectedly, or your neighbor needed help and you said yes. There's always going to be something that comes up that is unpredictable that you couldn't have foreseen or planned for. And in those moments, when you realize dinner is not going to happen, you can reach into the freezer and pull out the greatest gift to yourself. That is a gift to your family of a home-cooked meal. But more than that, Mama, it is a gift to you. That gift says there's grace on your life. There's margin on your life. It's okay to not be 100 all the time. Mama, I can tell you from experience that sometimes it feels like so much work just to get a meal on the table, let alone to get one in the freezer. The struggle is real, but it doesn't have to be. If you've never gotten into freezer meals before, don't let that intimidate you. Here are my top secrets for freezer meal success. Number 1 is prep components, not just meals. This is a great way to ease yourself into the process of freezer prepping. Cook and shred meat and then freeze it. A crockpot chicken or pork roast works perfectly. Shred it, bag it, and tuck it in the freezer. You'll be shocked at how much faster dinner is when the protein is already done. Rice and beans also freeze really well. And if you have produce from the garden, cherry tomatoes, blanched green beans, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, or even butternut squash can all be frozen for later. The most labor-intensive part you tackle ahead of time, the easier dinner becomes. Tip number 2 is make one, freeze one. This is my favorite trick. Instead of carving out extra time just for making freezer meals, I use my make one, freeze one method. If I'm making a casserole, I just double the ingredients, split them into 2 dishes, and freeze one for later. It feels like 1.5 times the work instead of double, and I get the dinner today plus dinner down the road. Tip number 3 is try freezer burritos. These are a game changer for busy families. Here's how I do it. I cook pinto beans in the crock pot and mash them, then make a batch of brown rice. Then I mix the beans, rice, and some shredded cheese together in a big bowl. Then I scoop the mixture into tortillas, wrap them up, and freeze. Pro tip, you can actually spread the steps over a few days. Make the beans one day, the rice the next, and assemble when you're ready. The burritos actually come together better when all the ingredients are cold anyway. Get the kids involved in wrapping, bagging, and labeling. It's a fun assembly line project for the whole family. When you're ready to eat, place the burritos straight from the freezer onto a baking tray. Bake at 375 for 15 minutes, flip them, bake another 15 minutes, and they're ready to go. You can also make versions with pulled pork or chicken tossed in an enchilada sauce or your favorite salsa verde. Not only are burritos an incredible option for fast food nights, but the beans and rice combo make a complete protein. Pair it with some fresh veggies on the side, and you've got a nourishing, budget-friendly meal in minutes. Freezer meals aren't just about convenience. They're about giving yourself the gift of grace on the days when you simply don't have it in you to cook. And trust me, my family never complains about having to eat burritos for dinner. It feels like a special treat. Also, burritos work really great for those like placeholder meals where I'm like, we just finished our last meal. I'm gonna cook again tomorrow, but we need something tonight. I just need one night of something to fill in for dinner, and then I can make dinner again tomorrow. Burritos work really well for that, and you can even eat them in the car if you need to. Okay, mamas, we're moving on to secret number 3. Let's talk about the most obvious, overlooked dinner hack of them all, the crockpot. Crockpot meals are kind of like that reliable friend you forget to call for months, and then when you do, you wonder, why didn't I reach out sooner? They're simple, they're flexible, and they can absolutely save your sanity when dinner feels impossible. It's time to pull out your crockpot and wipe off the dust and get it working for you in this busy season. Here's the magic. Crockpot meals can be prepped whenever you have a pocket of time. Maybe it's that quiet hour in the morning after the kids leave for school. Maybe it's the window of time before everyone gets home in the afternoon. Or maybe it's late at night after the house is finally calm and the kids are in bed. Whenever you find the time, you can chop, measure, and prep your ingredients. And then you have 2 options. 1, assemble everything into the pot, pop the lid on, and stick the whole crock in the fridge overnight. In the morning, set it in the base, turn it on, and walk away. Or if you're prepping everything together and you don't want all the ingredients to sit together overnight, you can just have them prepped separately and then dump in the pot in the morning and turn it on. It makes it so easy. Either way, the work is done when you have the margin, not at the crazy, chaotic hour when everyone's hungry and you're running on fumes. And here's the best part. Crockpot meals don't have to be boring. Think beyond the classic pot roast. My Pinterest board is full of ideas. Soups, chilies, tacos, curries, all the cozy, comforting meals that make fall dinners both nourishing and stress-free. The crockpot is proof that you don't have to choose between health and convenience. With a little planning, you really can have both. Mama, I hope by now you're feeling a sense of relief and encouragement that yes, this really is doable. You don't have to throw yourself into all of this advice at once. Start with one small thing this week, and as you get more comfortable, add another layer. Over time, you'll find yourself in a rhythm that actually feels good for your family. And as you do, here are a couple of extra tips that can make mealtime even easier. Number 1 is always keep staples on hand. If you've got your 5 rotation meals, you'll quickly learn what your core ingredients are. Try to keep these stocked as much as possible, even if you're not planning to cook that week. For example, when I make our Italian red orzo dish and use up the cans of tomato sauce in the pantry, I immediately add them to my grocery list. I may not know when I'll make that meal again, but it's a family favorite, so I want to make sure I've always got the basics on hand. Think of this like your mom emergency kit. Sometimes the difference between cooking dinner or grabbing fast food is just whether you have to go to one store instead of 2. And having staples on hand can make all the difference. Number 2 is cook bigger meals less often. This one might depend on your family's personality, but if they can handle leftovers, it's a huge sanity saver. In our house, I usually only cook dinner twice a week, but we eat homemade meals every day. How? I put more effort into those meals, make bigger portions, and then we eat them for 3 to 4 days. Sometimes we break it up with burritos or something simple in between. It keeps me from living in the kitchen every night. Honestly, I don't know how moms cook dinner every single evening. I do love to cook, but I couldn't handle that pace. Between breakfast, lunch, snacks, and meal prep, I'm already in the kitchen enough. So if your family doesn't mind leftovers, give yourself permission to cook more food on fewer days. And my tip number 3 is give yourself grace. At the end of the day, meal prep isn't about curated fridge photos or perfectly plated dinners. It's about stewarding your family's health in the middle of an already full life. And sometimes that looks like a rotisserie chicken, some butter noodles, and a bag of broccoli. And you know what? That's a win because you didn't have to hit the drive-thru and your family is still nourished. So celebrate the small wins, mama. Every meal you put together is an act of love for your family, whether it's a freezer burrito or a homemade chili. So here's your takeaway. Meal prep doesn't have to be complicated. With a little planning, some freezer magic, and a good crockpot, you can build a system that fuels your family, saves your sanity, and keeps you away from the fast food trap. Remember, you don't have to do this perfectly. Start small, give yourself grace, and celebrate the progress you're making. One step at a time, you're building rhythms that will bless your family long after this busy season is over. And if you're ready for more inspiration, don't forget to check out my Pinterest board for healthy crockpot ideas. Soups, chilies, tacos, curries, all the comforting, nourishing meals that make busy nights so much easier. You've got this, mama. Dinner really can be doable. Mama, I hope this episode blessed you and reminded you that you were beautifully and uniquely made to thrive. If today's conversation spoke to your heart, I'd love for you to take a moment to leave a rating and review. Not only does it encourage me, but it helps more tired mamas discover the hope, healing, and energy they've been searching for. You're not in this alone. Make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Together, we'll reclaim your energy, renew your health, and revive your spirit, one step at a time. Until next time, remember, you are beautifully designed by God to live with energy, clarity, and joy. You're not just surviving, mama. You're stepping into the vibrant life you were created for. I'm cheering you on.